You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts.
All right, Black and White Sports supporters. Well, we got some Shedeur Sanders. We got some Baker Mayfield this morning. Contract situation with Baker trying to sort itself out, but I'm not so sure it's going to happen before the start of the season. I think there is a belief out there that possibly this is one of those contracts that you look up and literally, the weekend prior to that Wednesday or Thursday that the season actually starts, boom, all of a sudden a contract extension gets done. Maybe. We know Baker came out and said, I don't want to talk about contracts once we get to training camp. We'll see, right? Before we get there, let's do Shedeur Sanders saying he's not content on just being on a team. He wants to be one of the greatest. Now, we talked about yesterday, just talked about him being traded because the Dallas Cowboys thing won't go away. There's a Jaguars thing floating around out there. And again, I think the reason that Jerry Jones would look at Sanders is because of the Deion Sanders connection and, frankly, the marketing connection. I mean, Jerry's not stupid. He knows if he gets Shedeur Sanders in the building, merchandise and all that is just going to fly out, all right? Right, wrong, or indifferent, people are going to buy the hell out of his shit. With a Dallas Cowboys logo on it, yeah, that's going to happen. I can tell you right now. Even if he is the backup. Now, here's the issue. If you're an NFL team, you don't want your backup making statements like this. And I know his fans do not want to hear that. They don't. They don't want to hear from you as a potential backup. I was going to say they want you to be seen and not heard. They kind of don't even want you to be seen. They want you in the background somewhere holding a clipboard. And that is a fact. That's why Tim Tebow did not get more chances as just a plain old backup quarterback, because the media would go in the locker room and you got a bunch of reporters standing around Tebow's locker. Same thing applies here with Shedeur Sanders. Make no mistake. And teams don't want that out of a backup. They'd rather be like, we'll trade for Dylan Gabriel instead. Yeah, maybe he's not as good as Shedeur. Maybe he is. But we don't have to worry about him running his mouth or saying a damn thing. And that is a priority. That is a thing in the National Football League. Again, a lot of people don't want to hear that. It's just a fact. Browns quarterback Deshaun Watson's battling Browns quarterback Shedeur Sanders is battling Deshaun Watson, good Lord, to be the week 1 starter, but he says he plans to win a lot more than training camp competition in his career. Sanders said on his YouTube channel that his goal is to be among the greatest quarterbacks in football. Quote, I'm not content just being on no team, Sanders said. I'm trying to be one of the greatest. You've got to be thankful, but there's still more. There's still more. Sanders reflected on his rookie year by talking about the Week 17 win over the Steelers, which he felt like after being a bench warmer the early part of the season, he had accomplished something. By the way, he kept getting back up. Quote, we were playing the Steelers. Their linebackers were hitting that game. I'm on the pine the whole year. I appreciate somebody that can use the word pine correctly. He was riding a bitch. I was on the pine the whole year. Good job. You can tell his daddy played baseball. Sanders said, you get out there and you're like, this is something, I could do something like this. What? Sanders took some criticism in that game for getting up and flexing after a 3rd down run that failed to pick up a 1st down. To me, that's an accomplishment. What? Wait, why? What? This dude tried to knock my head off. That's the whole thing I'm celebrating. I know it's 4th down, but I just evaded this tackle. I just got away. Wow. No. You cannot celebrate things like that. I mean, you just can't. You didn't make a first down. People don't celebrate the fact that they juked some. I mean, if you didn't make the first down, that's where it ends unless you go for it and made it. And maybe you did, but it doesn't matter. I remember this play, actually. And I remember looking at the TV screaming, "What are you celebrating for? You're short." Maybe this will come with maturity. I hope. This is one of those things where I keep thinking Dion is going to grab Shedeur, because I know one thing, my dad would have grabbed me right quick. Would have snatched me right quick and said, "No, look, dumbass. What are you celebrating? You didn't get the job done. We don't celebrate when you don't get the job done. And if you don't achieve a first down there and it goes to fourth down, you didn't get the job done. The job's not over." Jeez, I don't know. If I've told you guys I'm rooting for this kid, and I am. But if you want one singular example of why people don't care for Shedeur, it's that kind of talk. Because to a lot of people, it don't make sense. It don't make sense to me, hell. Nothing got accomplished there. You evaded a tackle. Nobody gives a shit about that. Nobody cares. Nor does anybody want to hear about it. Baker Mayfield's contract, NFL Network, Mike Garafolo
is hoping to have a date of training camp. It's more of a quadrilateral. That's what he said. Would like to have that done before entering the season, which will be the final year of the deal he's currently on. He said it's about finding the middle ground. How close are they, Mike, to that middle ground?
Yeah, that's how it works, Baker, when it comes to negotiations. Look, I know what Baker's doing. I mean, and sometimes you got to put a little bit of pressure on the team, even if it is a situation where you know he is going to be the guy and they know he's going to be the guy, at least for the short term. They are not close yet. I know that. Now, I'm confident in that one. I can tell you that. There's a lot of work that needs to be done on this one, and we're sort of in a period where, when it comes to Baker Mayfield or even Vita Vea on the other side of the ball that we've talked about, and since then Jeffrey Simmons with the Titans has gotten an extension. The Bucs are in no rush on either one of these. Now, around the start of training camp, that's where some pressure could be applied and say, hey, maybe we want to get this done and not have this be a storyline as we get ourselves into camp. But I can tell you right now, where Baker and his camp, where they have in their mind where the numbers should be and where the Bucs have offered to this point, yeah, they're not close. And it's about finding that middle ground. They're not close to that just yet.
Yeah, elsewhere in the division, Mike, the number is...
Wow. So they're not close on contract yet. What did he make? $30 million. He took 3 years, 100. So highest market's around 60. 45. Is he going to take 45 a year? Is he looking for, let's say he's looking for 60. They offered, did they offer him the same contract he already got? Did they offer 40 even? They meet in the middle at 50? Who knows? I give Jason Light and the Buccaneers credit for one thing real fast, because they did what a lot of teams couldn't do. They lost a great quarterback in Tom Brady, identified a veteran quarterback, went out, signed him, and they didn't really miss a beat at quarterback. Like, they kept that Buccaneers quarterback situation completely stable after Tom Brady left, and it was a good move. It was. You know how I feel. Baker should have never been allowed to have left Cleveland, and I'm not even a Browns fan, but you get the point, Sean McVay did Baker a lot of good in helping his career, like him and Shanahan. I mean, Mac Jones, I can tell you right now, if the Vikings could get Mac Jones, there would be no Kyler Murray, there'd be no J.J. McCarthy. Mac Jones would be the starting quarterback for the Vikings right now. But they can't get the Niners to let him go. And I still, as a Niners think it's because in the back of his mind, Shanahan's thinking, I finally got my guy. Mac Jones is finally in my building where I wanted him to begin with. We'll have to see. Somebody comes along and offers a second. Maybe they trade Mac. Maybe they don't. But it's I'm making a prediction. I think Baker ends up around 48 to 52. 4 years. 4 years. So we'll see. We'll see if I'm right. What would that be? Let's say 50 times 4 would be 200. So 165 guaranteed, 170 guaranteed. We'll have to see. Tell me what you think. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.